We are live. Good. We're gonna sit here and wait for a few people to come on, but man, it's great to be home. I tell you, I've been gone for about a week and a half, and it's driving me. It's just crazy. I'm just glad to be home. Hey guys, how you doing? Shan, how you doing? Hey Ethan. Man, I'm gonna let people jump on here real quick before we get to rolling. Don't ask was first. I love the name, dude. That's awesome. Hey, Joey. Man, Shane. I'm gonna move this a little closer to me. That way I can lean back in my chair. Feel like I've been in my truck forever. Man, oh man. But it's been a pretty good week. The weather has sucked. I mean, big time. I had this really cool trip planned up to a place called what is it called? Falls Creek Falls State Park in Tennessee, and I went there and I filmed there, and the only problem is it rained almost the whole time, so it's hard to film in the rain. It tends to ruin equipment. But what a beautiful place! Good grief! It's got the waterfalls are the most, and I've been to some really cool waterfalls in all over the country. These were the most amazing waterfalls I've ever seen. It had more to do with it. Just they just kind of sneak up on you, and all of a sudden there's a 600-foot drop with a waterfall sitting right there. Got some really cool drone footage. Going to put it into a video about Falls Creek Falls. I got two videos done today. One on finesse fishing in tough conditions, because that's what we had, and the other one on color selection, and selecting the right color lure, the right color crankbait and soft plastic according to the water clarity. So I'm excited about doing that one again. I have one from a long, long time ago. There's a couple of mistakes in it, and I think I did pretty good on this last one. So, oh man. But I'm gonna let some more people jump on, and I'm gonna make a few announcements, show you some cool stuff, and then we'll get to the questions. Falls Creek Falls Hunter is in Middle Tennessee, just outside of Spencer, Tennessee. And what a cool, I mean, I stayed in a cabin. They've got tons of cabins. They're renovating a hotel. They have a restaurant there. They have a swimming pool. They've got they got a softball field of all things, golf course, and lots of deer and beautiful falls and a lake that's supposed to be full of big fish, but because of the conditions, all I could do was catch little ones. I mean, little ones, 10, 11 inches. And of course, the biggest one I get done. It was the last one in the video. I hold it up, I let it, I give the outro of my video, I release the fish, I look over, and my audio is dead. Battery ran dead sometime, so I had to catch another small fish and do it again. So, oh man. But anyway, so we got 121 people on, 126 people. We're gonna let a few more people jump on here real quick, and I'm gonna show you something really, really cool while we do that. Okay, you guys know I've got a new website called Flukemastr.com, and I'm selling Flukemastr apparel. I just got this in the mail today. How freaking awesome is that? Now, this is a really, really cool tumbler. And when we chose it, one thing I hate about the tumblers that have the little stopper that stops the water from coming, or stops you from spilling, is it pressurizes as your drink gets warmer. It pressurizes and the lids pop off. Well, this lid screws on, and so the lid doesn't pop off, which I love. The ones I have a bunch of different ones, but the ones I have are pain in the neck because those lids pop off. It's got a nice little rubber bottom, so it doesn't slip around. The lid's a little tricky to get back on, but once you get to that point, it screws right back on. But anyway, so pretty cool. How much? Hold on, let me look. I haven't even looked. Like I said, I've been on the road forever, so what in the world? Let me look and see how much it is. But another cool thing, well, crazy thing. Monday morning, I woke up in it's $40, $39.99. But Monday morning, I woke up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, got in my truck. It was about 3:30 in the morning, and drove all the way to Tennessee. 18 hours, 1,100 miles. I've never done that before. I probably will never do it again. Um, but yeah, $40 might be too much. I may have to ask them to bring it down. But these things are, I don't know. I like $30. I'd like to bring it down to 30. I'll have to talk to John about that. But like I said, all I do is I promote them. I let those guys that run the website take care of the rest of it. But it is a really good tumbler. Um, but yeah, $40 is a little much. I hate to say that, but it does. $30 is a good price for it. So I'll have to see if we can bring it down a little bit. Um, what was I talking about? Oh, the trip. Got down to Tennessee. The weather was horrible, rained the whole time, but was able to put some videos and stuff together. So, uh, but yeah, that's the way it is. Trying to think of anything else that's cool going on. You guys go check out the apparel and stuff on the website. I've actually got access to the same kind of stuff that a lot of the high-end shirt companies and apparel companies have. So I'm looking into that. We're trying to trying to figure out how much we can charge for that without having to be as much as like Hook Gear or Under Armour and that kind of stuff. I hate that. I don't buy Under Armour because it's that expensive. So, but really good high quality stuff. Whew. All right. All right. So let's break into some questions. Let's talk about um what was that? AFCO quality. I don't know, man. I don't have a whole lot of AFCO stuff. Matter of fact, I talked to them on the phone today. They called me. I might try out some of their stuff and see whether I like it or not. But that'd be a really cool sponsorship. But like with all my sponsorship stuff, I try all their stuff and I try to beat it up before I even talk about sponsorships. Let's see. Gene Royer says, Mr. Jess, I'm going to Cartersville to visit my father and would like to go fishing. Do you recommend any creeks or ponds? Um, Thanks for your videos, man. The thing I hate about Georgia is there's not a whole lot of small public water access. Um, and what there is gets beat to death because there really isn't a whole lot. But if you want some good small ponds near Cartersville, there's Rocky Mountain PFA, public fishing area, right up the street from here, from my house. Um, and I'm not sure about anything else in Cartersville area. The best thing to do is to look on the Georgia Department of Natural Resources website and look for places to fish. They have a whole list of them there. So, Hunting Madness says, "Are you in Georgia?" Yes, I'm in Rome. Da, da, da. Let's see. Van's World says, "I'm in West Rome." That's pretty cool, man. I'm in North Rome. Um, we want to do a collaboration to help my channel out. We'll have to talk about that offline. I know I'm hard to get a hold of sometimes, especially when I'm on the road. Da, da, da. You know what I really hate about this weather? Because it's been so cold for so long, and the winters are cold up north, and it just stays cold down here. The water temperature hasn't gotten above 60. I think we're going to miss spring this year. I think it's going to go straight here in Georgia, at least. It's going to go straight from 50s in the morning and 60s in the morning to like 80. It's going to go from winter to summer and just forget about spring, unfortunately, which is really going to suck. I think this summer is going to be pretty warm, but not very happy about it. I just saw, let's see, Ethan asked, did you try out the Bonafide 107 or the 10-foot at the show, and how did you like it? No, I did not, because we did not have one at the show. They just got the 10-foot mold in like Monday or Tuesday or something like that, or they started working on it. They've got to retrofit everything, and they got to do a bunch of stuff to the mold before they start molding. And I think they start molding sometime this week or this weekend, or maybe early next week. And then they're just going to mold 24/7 until they get all those back orders done. From what I understand, it is an awesome boat. It's as stable as the 12-foot. From what people are saying, I'd have to test that. I don't believe it, but it's 3/4 of an inch wider and it's 2 feet shorter. So we'll have to see. Is Bonafide a potential sponsor for me? It already is a sponsor, Ray. Bonafide helped to. First of all, I fell in love with the kayak. It's it's awesome. But Bonafide helped me to kind of buffer the loss of having to leave Jackson. Um, and you know, Jackson was my biggest sponsor, and they weren't fulfilling their end of the contract, so I had to step out, and it was a big hit. So yeah, I called Bonafide and called Luther over there. We had a good long conversation, and he loves what I do, and he believes in what I do, and he makes one heck of a good kayak. I mean, you're gonna see a whole lot of really cool videos in that kayak. So, but I went and picked up my Alumcraft boat today. It was at the shop for the last week and a half getting fixed. The Yamaha had issues, and I'm excited to be able to get out there and chase some spawners while they're still spawning here in the south. Gene, have you ever fished Lake Kiwi in South Carolina? Any tips for what bait? I have not fished Lake Kiwi. I understand it is a spotted bass lake, so you can move a little bit faster. They'll suspend and still be active, and they should be spawning right now on that lake. So look for those pea gravel points, um, and you'll be doing just fine. Martin, um, Medrano. Gene, I moved to Dayton, Tennessee, and I tried to kayak fish Chickamauga, but way too much water. How would you kayak fish it? I would stay in the creek. What's that? It's the creek that Dayton boat ramps in. I just stay in there and fish. Learn that creek like the back of your hand. There's always fish in here. It's a really good a really good creek, and just stay right there. Just make it small. I know it's a lot of water, but that area is really good for kayak fishing. Put it in at the boat ramp and hang a right and go fish that shallow water for the next month and a half, 2 months. So, um, let's see. Big red bass. I don't understand that question. Is what's the best way to tie on a chatterbait? I have a hard time getting mine to flutter consistently. Um, Depends on what kind you're using. That's why I use the Project Z chatterbaits. It's because they're a lot easier. And boy, those dang expensive. Oh, what are they called? Uh, the new ones anyway. The jackhammers. Boy, they really flutter really easy. It has a lot to do with the clip that's on there, the types of clips. So the new Z-Man stuff is fairly easy. Just give it a good little pop, a little quick pop, and it'll come on there. So. What am I looking at? I'm here in Wisconsin. I don't recall a video. How was your trip to La Crosse? I think. I filmed I think one video, maybe two while I was up there. I was only up there for a day or two, and it was the one on my frog rod is what it was. And I'm going back up to La Crosse, and that was last year. So my La Crosse trip isn't until I think 3 weeks. There will be an outdoor show, something convergence or let me look it up real quick so you guys know because you really need, if you live up that way, you really need I'm doing a seminar there. Chad Hoover's going to be there and doing a seminar, um, and we're just going to have an absolute blast. So let me look. I don't know. I'm not even gonna do it. I'm sorry, guys. I'll announce all that next week. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. Got a little carried away. What fishing line did you recommend a few weeks ago live? You said you were not sponsored by them, but you would recommend the specific braided line. Um, I don't remember recommending any braided line. I remember recommending some Isoline Triple X Super copolymer. That's the only line outside of Seaguar that I recommend when somebody's looking for copolymer line. That's the best on the market. But I use SmackDown 100% of the time right now. So Armando, thanks for the $5. This is tips on fishing Yamamoto Ranch going in early June. Thank you. Which it depends on which part. If you're fishing the one that his house is on, and that one lake, there's a brush pile out in front of the dam, about 40 feet out in front of the dam. There's a big tree. I caught probably 60 fish off of that dang tree. It's easy fishing, dude. You can throw just about anything at them, and they'll bite. I mean, heck, they've been eating Cincos their whole entire life. It's not that's a real easy place to fish. So, Krista Fields. Hey, Krista. How you doing, sweetheart? I'm gonna be probably back in Augusta. It's gonna probably be summertime. I want to get there in May. This is May. No, next month is May. I want to get there in May and do some topwater fishing. So I might get the itch and just head out that way and do it. Um, Hunting Manus, are you going to do a meetup? I assume you mean in La Crosse. If you come to that event that's going on in La Crosse in, let me look at the date. That might help you. On the 19th of May is when it is. I'll be there the whole entire time. You can come meet up all you want. John Bolton, please review the SS-127 after it's been on the river. I will. I promise I will. Everybody that I know of that fishes them on rivers love it, but you know me, I don't take anybody's opinion. I usually try to figure that stuff out for myself. Jacob Ham says, what is a good deep sea fishing rod for beginner to deep sea fish? I don't know, dude. I don't deep sea fish. You have to ask somebody that does. I'm sorry. Jason Daniels, how do I add a donation? There's a little I don't know, there's a little S on the right hand side of the chat box. It's called Super Chat. You just click on that. Let's see. Are you coming to Clear Lake KBF event in July? I don't know. I haven't talked to Hoover about that. I might. I'd like to. I'd like to get out to Cali and spend a couple of weeks. So, Douglas says he's coming to La Crosse. That's cool, man. That is cool. I'll see you there. Have you ever fished in Oregon? Many, many years ago, like in 95, I think. 94, 95, I fished a little farm pond. And then I fished the Willamette River and I fished the Rogue River. I caught a really big steelhead out of the Rogue River. The Willamette, I just caught a bunch of small ones. So my favorite finesse technique is a Ned rig. So what's up, David Bradshaw? How you doing? Jacob Cleckley, what is the best kayak for the money? To be honest, SS-127, but it's $1,600. It all depends on your budget. It really does. Just if it's your first kayak, get one that floats, and get a good PFD and a good paddle, and go fishing, man. Learn all the little things you can do to a kayak, and learn how to handle the wind and learn how to paddle. Don't worry about spending a whole lot of money on a kayak, that's for sure. So shoot fish life. Fished in Utah. My dad was born in Brigham City. My mom was raised in Brigham City. We used to go out there. I fished the Logan River. I fished a couple other places, but we usually went up to Idaho and fished the Snake River and Yellowstone and Beaver Creek, all up in there growing up. That's my dad was a trout fisherman, so wherever we went trout fishing. Let's see. David Fields, you need to get on the editor's butt. I need more videos to watch. Actually, it hasn't been the editor. It's been the fact that I've been traveling and doing shows, which I kind of like doing shows because I get to meet people, but it gets in the way of filming. And if I film at shows like I did last Friday, there's a lot of my fans that just don't care. And I don't like doing them. I really don't like making videos of the shows. I'd rather make them of instructional stuff. And so, and then the weather got in the way. So I've got two videos. Actually, I've got one with Tyler, and with Tyler's Real Fishing. I've got to finish editing, or I've got my editor's got to finish editing, and I've got to do some stuff for him. And then I've got one more of my electronics being put in that needs to be edited, and then the two that I shot today, I'll send to him and get them edited. So they're coming, dude. I'm just behind. It sucks. Traveling just gets in the way. What is your personal best? Minus 5 pounds. Mine's 10 pounds, 12 ounces. Plan on coming out to Tidal Potomac this year? No, probably not. Probably not this year. Maybe next. Sean Dandy, Evening Jeans sent you a DM on Instagram a few days ago asking about your fluorocarbon setups on your reels. I'd have to look. They've changed. But I always have fluorocarbon on my cranking rods. I always have one jig rod with 20-pound fluorocarbon on it. And then all my spinning rods are braided with fluorocarbon leaders. That's pretty much the gist of it. And then I have pretty much, all my cranking is all fluorocarbon. Everything else has braid on it. Let's see. Any more trips to Massachusetts? Not this year. That was one heck of a long drive. I'd love to go back because that's where my mom's from, and I get to go and do some genealogy work while I'm up there. But it won't be this year. So let's see. Felipe, what's going on, man? He says I want to flip and pitch with 20-pound Abrazex and a Gamakatsu Superline EWG hook. Which knot is best for that? I use an improved clench knot for most of my flipping stuff, so you should be, and especially with fluorocarbon. That's what I would use. If you're gonna punch thick vegetation, go to straight braid. Let's see. Let's see. Will I fit an SS 127? I'm 6'3", 375. Built like an offensive lineman. Good grief, Joe. You one of them corn huskers. Let me think. Yeah, I mean, you would fit in it. It would be stable enough. It just wouldn't. You'd push quite a bit of it down, so it probably wouldn't be very as fast as it normally would. Best thing to do, man, is just get in one and try it out and play around with it. They are super stable. They will hold a ton of weight, and they'll be a lot more stable than most other things. But 375, you're looking at between the SS 127 and the big rig, are the two you're looking at. So I'd get out and see about testing out either one of those. Look for a dealer within a couple hours of your house, and you should be able to get a demo day with them. Top lure for muddy water is a black and blue jig or a black and purple jig, or a black and blue rage bug is what I would use too. How to fish for bass in current. Depends on what type of bass. Smallmouth bass, light current. Spotted bass will hang out around current, and largemouth try to avoid it at pretty much most all costs. So find that slack water to catch those largemouth, and you should be okay. The smallies will be like sitting on the bottom or behind a rock, right in the middle of the current. Why no cranking rods for Fate Blacks? Fate Black has because the Fate Chromes are really good cranking rods, dude. I would not hesitate to recommend the Fate Chromes. I know that they don't have any crankings for the Fate Blacks, and I think it's because they have them for the Fate Chromes. If I and I think they're coming out with them with the when they come out with the new omens. What's your favorite bed fishing bait? Dude, I'm going to do a video. If I can get my boat out on the water this next week and find some fish on the bed, I'm going to do a bed fishing video. There's actually 5 baits that I use, and some of them change. So it's not going to be something that is my favorite. It's just whatever pisses the bass off. But I'm going to do a really cool video, and I'm going to use one of the seminars from Bass University to help teach it. So. When will you come to Jersey? Oh, Weston, that's a good question. Do a fish finder install on a Bonafide. I will. Now that I've figured out how I want my fish finder mounted, I've got a sacrificial dry box that I got from them, and it's got holes, and I've been testing and doing all kinds of stuff. I think I've got it set. Man, my nose is itching. So have I been to Lake Sinclair? Not in many years. Bless me. Let's see. Am I missing anything? Nope. Sorry, guys. There's little to no fisherman info up here in the tri-state area: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. That's strange because New Jersey's got a ton of little public ponds that people go fishing at. They really impressed me. I sure as heck wished. Wish Georgia would do something like that, where they had a bunch of public ponds that had sidewalks all the way around them, and they kept them stocked with fish. But I don't know about how to find the information about that. There's got to be a way. As much as they pump into the fishing, fishing for kids and stuff down there, there's got to be a way you can find it. So, Chris Galloway, thanks for the $2, man. Have you fished Lake Russell in South Carolina? Not in probably 8 years. I really like Lake Russell. It's one of those things where it's a blueback herring lake, and I got sick and tired of fishing them, so I would rather not go back to it and fish it. But I bet if I had a chance to fish it while I was over there, one day I'd jump on it. I love to run up the river in that place. So, have I been to Kentucky Lake? I was there for the Kayak Bass Fishing National Championship, but I didn't fish. Um, how to best store tons of soft plastics. Those plastic drawer cabinets that you get from Walmart is how I store all mine on. And then I have the big boxes that I used to use in my boat. Now they're smaller ones because I can fit them in smaller places. And then I also keep them in the new Bass Mafia bags, and those things are freaking indestructible. Josh Oates, man, thanks for the $20, man. You're awesome. Thanks for all your videos. Always look forward to them. Yeah, appreciate it, brother. Bill D, cold muddy water, best lure and technique. Cold muddy water, I go home. I'm serious. That is the worst conditions you can possibly fish is cold muddy water. Um, but if you're forced to, if you have to, get a black and blue jig, get a black and blue or a black flipping bait, and go flip to heavy cover that you can see, or a shallow cover that you can see. The fish are going to move shallow and cut in muddy water, and just keep making flip after flip. I just did a video last month about fishing muddy water. I'd go back and watch it if I were you. That is the best way to go catch them in muddy water. It's and cold muddy water, dude. Seriously, I pack it up and go to the house, or I go find a lake that's got clearer water. Um, Alex, what's up, brother? He says, "Do you do maintenance on your reels?" I personally don't. I don't have the time. I used to do maintenance on them. Now I send them to Trey Harple in St. Louis, Missouri, and he does them for me. I think he charges $15 a reel or something like that. And if I send him one that's really really dirty, he charges me a little bit extra. Been known to do that a couple of times. Sorry, Trey, but that's what I do. What's the best braid to lead or knot? Is an FG knot. 100%. I mean, I'm never going back to anything else. Um, let's see. Cast King reels. Never been impressed with them. I've had 3 or 4 of them that they've sent me to review, and I pretty much refused to review them. Called them, gave them some suggestions on how they needed to fix them and make them better, and haven't really touched anything about them since. Rods are the same thing. You did a review on the Okuma TCS rods once. Do you know if there's a model on that line to throw a 10XD? I don't think so. Not one that was made for it. You could throw one on a jig rod and be just fine. They're 7'4", I think, medium heavy, and you would be just fine. But yeah, I don't think they've come out with one. Any good spots on you might know of in Massachusetts? No clue, man. Never fished it. I did drive through it last week, but I didn't fish it. Most underrated fishing reel. Um, the Inception by 13 Fishing. It's $120. It is a freaking workhorse. I love that reel. It's one of those reels that you can beat the living crap out of, and it just keeps on going. You can get it dirty. I feel like it's like uh, like some of the, well, I can't remember. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that topic. Soft plastic storage on your SS-127. I keep 1 or 2 of the Bass Mafia bags is what I do, and they go next to the black pack, and they zip up and they're waterproof and everything else. So that's what I do. Um, Best deep cranking baits. It's hard to say. Deep crank. I use 6XDs, 5XDs, and this year I hope to be able to catch some on a 10XD, but we'll see. I've got a bunch of 10XDs, and I just need to get out there and catch a fish on one. Gene Jensen, do you like watching King of the Hill? I don't really watch TV. I let my kids watch it, but I don't. Uh, let's see. Do lunker hunt frogs really fool fish better than normal stranded legs? In my opinion, heck no. I don't think it makes a difference. It is a reaction style bait. I catch the snot out of fish with the ones with the strands. It's a reaction bait. I don't the details really don't matter. I'm all concerned with the color of the belly. So how can I get sponsored by Bass Mafia? You'd have to contact their pro staff director and send in an application or something like that. Um, Let's see. Thoughts on quantum rods and reels. I haven't heard much about quantum in a number of years. I wonder what their marketing strategy is because I usually am pretty good at picking up and watching things. So, um, favorite concept reel is the Z. I cannot wait to get more than just the one that they've sent me. You guys need to stop buying them so they can send me some. No, I'm just kidding. Buy them away. Oh, that reminds me. If anybody's looking for the Concept Z, I got a text message from the owner of tacklefreaks.com, and they have a abundance of Z's in 7 3-to-1, both left and right handed. And they're going to throw in a free 13 hat if you buy one. So that's my buddy Kevin Baxter. I'm not sponsored by him. He's just a friend of mine, and he texted me on the way home today and told me what he had. Let's see. Chris Goff, thanks for the $10, man. Can you do a video on a new lake with no electronics and show us poor guys how to find the fish? And what's up with the drop in videos? I'll send you my wife's contact info. I was gonna do a drop in this last week, but I had to go to the Northeast, and so I had to cancel it. So I'm still in the works of doing those. I've got a couple more to set up, but yeah, that's a good idea. Do one without electronics, which is pretty simple. It's what I do when I bank fish. I just go to the steep banks and I fish the points in the steep banks, and that's usually where I start. And I use something that sinks to the bottom that I can count down and figure out what depth everything is. Um, let's see, Central. Let's see on. Boy, everybody's actually asking for my opinion on reels. I'm not gonna get into that. Favorite cranking rod and reel. I use a 6 3-to-1 Concept A, and cranking just depend. The rod I use just depends on the bait, on what the size of the crankbait is. Chatterbait, $16. Jackhammer won $100,000 on Kentucky Lake. Yes, it did. I sat there and watched the guy catch the winning fish. Um, what would be a good first bass fishing rod and reel under $80? What I would recommend is go to Bass Pro Shops or to Cabela's and buy one of the store brands at your budget, and get out there and learn how to use it. Fish it until you tear that sucker up, and then save your money and get a better one. But those are perfect to start with. It's what I started with. I used to have a bunch of those Bass Pro Shop Pro Qualifier rods and reels, and it was a lot of fun, man. That's what I would do. Hi, Gene. Will you say bass react to the same in lakes which only have carb as they would around within? I don't know. I don't understand that. Sorry, man. What is the best topwater lure for ponds this time of year? Um, for ponds, they're not going to have shad in them. I love a popper, a little popper for small ponds, something that looks like it doesn't have to. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just use a popper, or a frog or something like that. You should be pretty good. Greg, thanks for the $5. You should go to Jersey and fish. Also, go into detail on fishing. I go into detail on fishing. Um, I need to go back to Jersey. I need to go hang out at Mike Iaconelli's house and do another Ike Live with him. That was a lot of fun. Chatterbait color from Muddy Water. I use black and blue, dude. Seriously, black and blue is what I use for Muddy Water. What's the pound test line for cranking 2 to 5 feet deep? 2 to 5 feet deep. If I'm gonna be throwing a square bill, and I'm gonna be throwing it on 15-pound line, because usually 2 to 5, I'm beating the crap out of whatever cover I see, like brushes and stumps and grass and things like that. So. Good middle price fish finder. I like the new Lowrance, what they call hook twos. Check those things out. I'm not sure if they're totally out now. I know they've been rolling them out. And get one that's in your budget. So good. Let's see, black and blue and June bug. Yes. What lakes do you fish in Georgia? I live in Atlanta and need some good lakes. To be honest with you, Jack, I don't fish any lakes in Georgia except for Rocky Mountain PFA right down the road. I go to Alabama and fish Gunnersville. I go to Tennessee and fish Chickamauga. Tennessee River just has better fishing. Georgia, their fishing sucks. to be honest with you, because the DNR only stocks hybrids and stripers, and they only support those guides that fish hybrids and stripers for some reason. They never stock largemouth. Tennessee Valley Authority stocks largemouth all up and down the Tennessee River, and that's why they have better fishing, and that's why those tourist bucks from us fishermen go to those states. I wish Georgia would figure it out. It drives me crazy because we have some great lakes, and they'd be even better if our DNR supported us us largemouth bass fishermen. So, Chris Goff, thanks for the $5. Come to Piercy Priest for a drop in with me, and we can do no electronics videos. Two birds and one stone. Man, you're hard. Ah, see, I can't do a drop in when you know I'm coming. Let's see. Could you catch fish on a square bill 1.5 crankbait with a 7-foot medium action rod with a 5:3 to 1 gear ratio reel? Yes, you can. I would try to get something a little bit faster of a gear ratio, but that's the exact rod that I use to fish a 1.5 in shallow water. So I like a 7.3 to 1 for a square bill just because I like to fish them a little bit faster. But that'll work. A 5.3 to 1 will work. If that's what you got, man, throw it. It ain't gonna kill nothing. Let's see. I have a high pressured lake that I fish from the bank that has mostly bluegill here in Colorado. Fifth gear portraits. What I would do is finesse fish. You can either fish really, really slow with a finesse bait or really, really fast with a crazy bait like a spinner bait or a swim bait or something like that. But you're more likely to catch something on a finesse bait. Man, I can't wait to get that video I filmed today. Hopefully the audio turned out in it. I haven't even checked it yet. So that's my biggest problem is I've had so many audio issues this last year. And so anyway, let's see. Would you ever paddleboard fish? Probably. I might. I have a live paddleboard in my barn. One of those 14 footers, the dual hull 14 footers are like $2,000. It's not mine. I'm storing it for a buddy of mine, but I don't even have a paddle to paddle it with. Hey, Fluke, your tip on tightening down the FG knot after the first half hitch is money. No more Hoover knot for me, thanks. I love it, man. That's the trick. You got to tie that half hitch and then tighten down your knot and then finish all the rest of your half hitches. And you're right, it is money and it will hold forever. What's the better aluminum boat? Alumacraft's Triton Ranger Tracker for the money. I'm gonna recommend Alumacraft because I fish it. I also know it has more storage than both of those boats. Probably both of them or all three of those boats combined, but it does. It has more storage. It has a better ride, and I've been in all three of those other boats. It has a better ride, and it fishes a whole lot better. Meaning that you can use the whole deck without too much rock on the boat. Just a really good boat. And you can get my boat with a 115 for somewhere around the low 30s. So, or maybe 20s, high 20s. I can't remember. Anyway, you have to check with a dealer. How important is stealth boat arrival at a spot and also stealth water entry of a bait presentation? Is very important for stealth boat arrival. When you get to a spot, pull up early, drop the trolling motor real quiet, troll up to it as close as you dare, shut that trolling motor down and make your first cast. I've learned a lot since fishing out of a kayak, man. I can catch. What's cool is in a big boat when I'm drop shotting, and this happened today. When I'm drop shotting in a big boat, 15 feet's about as shallow as I drop shot. Because you get a boat over top of fish in clear water and 15 feet of water, they can see you, they get spooked, they're gone. With a kayak, I was catching them in super clear water, 10 feet under the boat with a drop shot. I've never done it like that, man, and it was awesome. I mean, they just aren't spooked. And I even had the fish finder on, so it wasn't the fish finder's noise or anything that was spooking them. It's usually the trolling motor that does it. Let's see. John Harden, have you fished Saluda Lake in Greenville, South Carolina? No, I haven't. Would you take me fishing to catch a 2-digit or a double-digit bass for $200? Probably not, Alex. I don't. That's why I make videos. I really do I used to guide. I used to love guiding, and I still love guiding. But one, I don't have a license. I could get myself in trouble doing that. And two, I would much rather take the time to make videos so I can teach a lot of people how to fish than just take one individual fishing. I feel like I get a whole lot more out of it by teaching the world to fish. So that's just how I feel. Sorry. About how long should you take reeling in a soft plastic bait? All depends on the fish. If they're biting it as soon as you pitch it into a bush and hop it a couple of times, that's all I would do. Flip it in, hop it a couple of times, reel it back. Flip it in, hop it. But if they're slow and methodic, are really slow to bite, I'm gonna fish really, really slow. I'm gonna put my reel the hand that I reel with, I'm gonna put it in my pocket and I'm gonna fish really slow, 2, 3, 4 minutes. It just depends on the fish. There's no right answer for that one. Um, what is the best frog? The one the bass want. They'll eat anything. They really will. But you gotta keep. That's what's fun about fishing. About bass fishing. So you got to keep experimenting until you figure out what they want and how they want it. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it, man. Sorry, bro. Um, Caleb says, "What if you did a video and have someone in the boat and you're teaching them how to fish?" I've tried to do that. I'd have to also hire a cameraman. It's almost impossible. The audio ends up being all jacked up. I don't have that good of equipment to be able to do that, and I did really seriously have to hire a cameraman to be able to fish and do that kind of stuff. And I've tried it. I've tried it with my kids. I've tried it a couple of times. It's hard. You never can get what you really need to get and make it look good. Um, Suggestion on a trailer for a chatterbait. Um, I use two different trailers. I use a paddle tail, usually a diesel minnow, or I use a Rage Menace. And the Rage Menace is pretty cool. You can turn it this way with the hook coming out like this, and it swims like a crawfish. And if you turn it this way and don't rip the two claws apart, with the hook coming out like this, then it swims like a bluegill. Pretty cool little deal. So, let's see. When do you use a leader when fishing braided line? When the water is really, really clear. And I always use a leader on a spinning rod because I usually only fish spinning rods in really tough conditions, like clear water or just when the bite's tough. Have you ever fished in Missouri? I live in St. Louis, and the fishing is so hard. The bass never bite. If you ever fish in Missouri, what would you recommend? I've never fished in Missouri. I understand the lot of lakes there are deep and clear, so the fish move off the bank really really quick. The big reservoirs are the type of reservoirs you really need a boat. And then I just get out there and fish just off the bank and fish any point and anomaly in the lake. I need to get out there and fish though. I'd really like to dig into those lakes. Um, let's see, GT Sports. I've got mad respect for you guys putting out quality angling videos. Cool, man. Thanks, Scott. Have you ever seen bass become conditioned to a jig? Not to a jig. You're not going to get a lot of bites on a jig. You're going to get a few bites, and they're going to be good bites. That's the biggest thing. And a jig is one of those things you just got to throw all day and expect 4, 5, maybe 6 bites. And if you catch a lot of them, dude, you've had an amazing day on a jig. Keep casting. Thanks for $10, man. I said, I'm sorry I have not been watching as many videos. For a fact, I have learned the most important things from you and being on the water. Thank you for all your continued training. Thanks, man. Watch them, please. Watch my videos. That it means a lot to me, and the only way this thing's going to grow and keep growing is if you guys watch my videos and tell your friends about them and share my videos and subscribe and do all the other stuff we have to do. Make sure you hit that little bell next to the subscribe button as well, so you get notifications of my new videos, so you don't miss any. I've got some real good ones planned. I'm going to switch gears and over the next couple of weeks before I go to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and try to film as many videos as I possibly can. I'm going to finish up my list of beginner videos and then start tearing up the top water and all kinds of other stuff, the cool videos. We're going to do some grass fishing when I'm up in La Crosse. I can't wait. Any plans to fish with Lake Fork guy? Nope, haven't talked to him in a while. Matt Cogdill, I have the Bass Mafia boxes also. Have you done your mod to your black pack yet to make them fit? Yes, I have. I'll take pictures of it. I'll put it on Instagram. Um, it's not hard to do, really isn't. How do you find deep water fish and catch them in a big lake? You look for them. And I say that because one of the best guys I know at doing that, that's his answer. You get on your fish finder and you go out and you zigzag across points, you zigzag across humps and drops and things like that until you start to see life, and then you stop and you fish. And that's what you got to do. You just got to go spend the time to look for them. And good electronics are critical when fishing offshore. I love to fish offshore. And 8 years ago, I hated fishing offshore. So it's one of those things I've really spent a lot of time learning. I ain't got to the point where I'm more comfortable out there than I am on the bank. Fluke, heard about that $400 12-foot Ozark trail kayak at Walmart. I have not heard about it. You say Walmart and boat at the same time or kayak at the same time, it pretty much scares me. But I haven't looked at them, so I can't tell you that. Can you do a video on electronics? I'm in the market for one and have no clue where to start. Don't know how to use one. Don't know what to look for. I'm going to make it simple for you, Keenan. And yes, I plan on doing videos on electronics this year. Buy one that has GPS mapping, that has down imaging, and it has standard sonar, and then get the biggest screen that you can afford. That's the three things that are critical. The reason I say that is down imaging helps you interpret what you see on your regular sonar, and mapping, GPS mapping, lets you mark it so you can come back to it and fish. That's critical, especially if you're offshore. You see a brush pile and you can't mark it on a GPS and you can't come back and fish it, it ain't even worth your time to go looking for it. So that's what's critical. And Navionics does have some really good webinars on YouTube. Could you do a video on how to apply a pattern from one point to another on a lake? Whew, if I lived on a lake that patterned. I got to get back into that. You got to understand, fishing Clark's Hill for the last 20 years. Clark's Hill is not a pattern lake. It is an area lake. It's a blueback herring lake. The bass move all the time, chasing those stupid bait fish, and so it's really really hard to pattern anything. I used to be really good at figuring out a pattern, and that's something I've got to work really hard on. That's why I moved out here to the northeast part of Georgia to be closer to the shad lakes like Chickamauga and Gunnersville, Tennessee River, that kind of stuff, because they shad lakes tend to pattern better, and then I'm going to get better at that, and I'll be able to teach it a little bit better. So, um, fishing big bass tour next week at Clark's Hill. With this crazy spring we've had, where would the big girls be? Humps, points, or will they still be shallow? I think they'll still be shallow. They might even be spawning, dude. Seriously, I haven't heard anything about them. And usually this time of the year, they're pretty much post spawn and they're out on the points. If you get any chance to pre fish, check all the points in the lower end of the lake and see if there's any schoolers on there, and also look for spawners. If the water's probably up in the bushes, if they're up in the bushes, one of the deals is if they're spawning, they're going to be on the small bushes that have a lot of limbs in it. Even if there's leaves on those bushes, even better. But they'll be on those bushes that have a lot of limbs, not the ones with the little stick ups. And that's you flip something in there, they'll be spawning right on the side of those bushes. Um, let's see, what's my favorite lake? Favorite lake, if I had to choose one, it would be Wilson. Duck Posse, what is it? Dub Posse, is that what it says? Okay. How do you store your bulk line, spools, and cut back on line memory? I store my bulk line in a big tote that stays either in my barn or in my truck. And I took a picture of it a long time ago on Instagram. I need to do a video about it, but it's a spooling station that I make out of a tote, and it keeps all my big spools and line memory. I don't really worry too much about it anymore. It's just something I've just learned to deal with, and I don't have really bad memory. I use KVD line and lure spray on all my fluorocarbon, and I really don't have a serious issue with it. Plus, I use high quality fluorocarbon. So the Abrase X is really good, but you got to spend your money to get that kind of fluorocarbon that doesn't have bad memory. So, um, Ethan, I don't have a favorite lure. Have you ever caught redfish? Yes, I have. It's one of my favorite fish on the planet to fish. I go to Louisiana at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and kayak fish for reds. So yes, I love it. What's the dumbest thing you have caught a fish on? A number two pencil. Seriously, I took a number two pencil. I put two little screw eyes in it and put some split rings and some hooks on it, and used it as a topwater bait and caught a bass on a number two pencil, about a 3.5 pounder. That's why I always say freaking bass will hit anything. Where do bass go? Smallmouth and largemouth go in the hot middle of the summer. They go deep. They both go deep. Some they just hold on different types of things. Smallmouth stay close to the current, and bass go deep and hang out on offshore structure. So Anthony Carl, that's Gene. Sure. Oh, I totally butchered your last name. Sorry, man. Gene, love the videos. Thanks, man. Uh, let's see. What hooks for a number one pencil? Oh, I can't remember. I think they were size sixes. My PB redfish is 29 and a half inches. Any tips for cold water about 44 degrees? Windy day, bluebird skies. Jerk baits. A clear jerk bait is what I'd be throwing, or a shiny jerk bait. To catch big bass, do you have to have a big bait? No. Have you ever been to Tappan Lake down in New Philadelphia? No, I have not. How do you adjust a Tatula bait caster? I do not know. I always I've basically you just back the brake system off, let it drop, adjust it. I've got a video about it, and then adjust it to where it'll just barely fall, and then bring the brakes back to halfway. But I don't know about a Tatula. Have you ever fished the Great Lakes? I fish Lake Erie every spring, except for this spring I had to cancel that trip. I fish around Buffalo, New York, and then I fish the Niagara River. It's a, uh, a media event I go to every year. Where to start on a lake full of cypress trees after they spawned out? Um, I'd go to the ditch. I'd go to whatever creek or river or ditch that runs down through, and I'd still hit the trees that are close to that ditch. Have you ever used a cash and rod? Yes, I'm working on a review on one right now. Their jerkbait rod, which is a really good rod. I love it for square bills. But they say it's a medium heavy, and I don't understand that. But anyway, it's a good jerkbait rod. Coming back to Chick, had a great day with chatterbait today. I wish I could come back to Chick, Joe. I We'll see. We'll see. I might come back this next week, but it'll just be a day trip, so it'll be down on the south end. Any plans for ice fishing in the future? Not right now. When are you coming to La Crosse, Wisconsin? I will be there on the 19th of next month for an event that they're putting on. I wish I could figure out what the name of it is. Something Convergence. But let me look it up. Um, I have no clue, guys. I'm sorry. I cannot figure it out. That must not be what I'm looking for. I wish I could find out the name of it. It's something Convergence, and I just don't have it in. Don't have the email. What scales do you recommend for lakes and oceans? I have no clue. I use some cheap little Rapala scales. Is what I use. You should fish Lake Seminole in Southwest Georgia. Yeah, I need to go back down there. I caught one good one down there when I was filming a TV show with Chad Hoover. So evidently, I am now the co-host for Kayak Bassin TV, official co-host. So I've got a TV show now, whatever that means. Have you ever fished in Ponce Inlet in Florida? I have not. You need to fish. I don't saltwater fish much. I wish I did. It's just such a long way away. I have some buddies that take me fishing down in Florida. I go and do it as much as I possibly can, usually 5, 6, 7 times a year. And I try to make videos about it. I caught a 250 plus pound Goliath grouper out of a kayak this last year. That was a joy. But I don't get a whole lot of saltwater fishing in. Daniel Kennedy, Shad Spawn tips. It's just starting around here. Go watch my video that I made last year on Chickamauga about Shad Spawn. It's huge, a lot of detail in it about how I fish a Shad Spawn. Have a popper tied on, dude. And go fish those hard banks and those hard walls and all kinds of other stuff, man. I've even seen them spawning on pontoon boats. So that's what I would do. Have you ever fished for red bass? I have not. This is my first time tuning in to your channel. Thank you. Thanks, John. Appreciate it, man. It is a lot of fun. We got about 5 minutes, and I usually lose my voice after an hour, and I'm gonna go up and spend some time with my family since I haven't seen them in 2 weeks. Let's see. Have you ever tried the Daiichi Seiko knot assist tool to tie the FG knot? I have not. I learned how to do it. It takes me about 30 to 45 seconds to tie one. And I just don't see any reason to have the tool. I know a lot of people or I've heard of a lot of stories of people using it and they love it. But that's one of those things you do it at home, which you can do with an FG knot because it lasts a long time. I mean, I've got FG knots that I've had tied for 2 weeks and there's no issues with them. So, let's see. Gene, would you be able to ship items on the website to South Africa? I like your shirts. I don't know. I'll have to check on it. Like I said, the way I've set this website up is I've got a team that handles the website, handles the shipping, handles everything else. All I do is talk about it and promote it and approve product and things like that go into it. So that's something that side will have to do it. And I'm pretty sure there's an email address that you can that on the website that you can email to get information. So what happens to the pros bass boats after they get new ones? They have to sell them. I'm lucky. Mine I don't have to sell. I actually turn it back into the dealership, and the dealership sells it. Sells it, makes money on it. I don't get to make any money on it though, but I just don't have to. I don't like having to worry about selling a boat and things like that. Let's see. What's up, man? Just got the new Z. Cool. And like I said earlier, anybody looking for the Z, go check out tacklefreaks.com. My buddy Kevin Baxter, that's his website. I'm not sponsored by him, but he just emailed me, said he just got a ton of Z's in. So if anybody's looking for one, jump on it. Man, I ate too much tonight. Can you share your views about your Jackson Mayfly kayak? Anthony, you have not been watching my videos, dude. I switched from Jackson to Bonafide here a few months ago. Jackson wasn't fulfilling their end of our contract, so I had to drop out of the contract and go find somebody new. But I tell you, the Mayfly, I loved it, absolutely loved it. It was really good on lakes. It was pretty good on the river. Really a stable boat, a fun boat to fish out of. So if you're looking for something like that, it's a really good one. The SS 127 from Bonafide is more stable. It's a little faster. And it's a fun boat to fish out of. But dude, those are my two favorite boats, the SS 127 and the Jackson Mayfly. Man, I miss that boat sometimes. It was a lot of fun to fish out of. How many Georgia hats do you own? Bassin, let's see. This company, the Zypher Hat Company, just recently Georgia pulled the contract from them, and they no longer can make Georgia hats, which sucks because it's the only type of hat and brand of hat that I know of that the red actually doesn't fade out in about 3 weeks. I'm always in the sun with them. So I actually just bought another dozen Georgia hats, but I have 4 more left with my logo on the back, and then I'm going to get these new ones that I just got. I'm going to get my logo put on the back of them as soon as I can. So I probably have 20, including a lot of the old ones that are just in a box. Maybe they'll be worth something one day. Where do you think bass are in Lake Lanier now? Spawning in creeks and flats and points. Yes, I think that they'll be spawning for sure. Hey there, Gene. Your videos are great and super helpful. Love your Friday night stream. Thanks, Colton. It's always something to look forward to while delivering pizzas. That's awesome. And you must be I wonder are you that pizza delivery guy I ran into up in just north of here? I can't remember the name of the city. Would you use a swim bait or a frog to catch bass? Please answer. Swim bait or a frog? That's 2 different types of baits, dude. Frogs are topwater, And when the bass are shallow and active, I'm going to throw top water. If the bass are below surface and not really busting, I'm going to throw something that goes underneath the surface. Swim bait works really good if you've got big bait fish in the area, and so it's two different techniques for two different situations. Where do residential creek bass spawn? I don't know, dude. It had to be in slack water somewhere, wherever there's slack water. What size hook would you use in a 6.5-inch shadowless swim bait? 6.5-inch. I would probably use either a 6/0, between a 6 and an 8/0 is what I would use. Stephen says, thanks for supporting the military. No problem, man. I'm a veteran myself, so it's easy, man. And I was a medic, and I was usually the one picking up body parts and stuff after people got blown up. So it's something that I've always been passionate about, is taking care of these guys. So they are my brothers. Next time you're north, you have to come to Champlain for Ice Out. I need to come somewhere for Ice Out. I'm so mad at myself for not planning that trip to New England better, because if I'd have done that, I'd have stayed up there and fished their Ice Out. But I had to come back home to Tennessee. So Jacob Lee wants a shout out. Cool, man. All right, brothers. Let's see. It is time for me to roll. I'm going to go say hi to my family. Like I said, I've been gone for going on 11 days, and I haven't seen them in a while, so I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I didn't get to everybody's questions. I don't read very fast. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to check out my new website, flukemastr.com. Tell me what you think about it. Give me some suggestions on some of the things you want to see in it. I'm also selling 13 rods and reels on there, and any of the stuff that I use in my videos you'll see on there. So like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on that water and go out and catch some fish and have a good day. We'll see you.